So, good evening. I'm Canu from Eurosymbiose, France, and before talking to you the purpose of my presentation is how to facilitate an efficient deployment of the strategy. Just some words about Eurosymbiose. We are a French company and we propose training program and consultancy in many kinds of industry, from aerospace to automotive, but also beauty products or luxury products. So, the problem is want to talk about how to facilitate the deployment of the strategy and why I show this. Oops. So, if you talk about some word about our context and the context of the company, so we are in a very complex environment, and it's very difficult for the board to have a vision on the future. And we are many and many more harder competitors from other parts of the world and from other products or other way to sell product. And there is many new way to create new business with a new way to create the added value. And another thing is we work with a higher speed to share and to work with data. And in this context, we can say that if we don't move, we die. So it's necessary to move. It's we must move. But to move and create something, to invent new product or new added value or new thing for the customer. And the problem is to have an efficient way to pass from the idea to create actions. And the other thing is we must be not in a way like this. We must be agile and feline. And the last word is in French, but I don't know. I don't know in English. So if you can, it's manœuvrier. Manœuvrier is like this. Hmm? Yes, good. Okay. The problem is, when you talk about strategy, is that people in the company, and especially in the board of the company, they are fascinating about strategy. To talk about strategy, to thinking about strategy, to create the best strategy. But create and have the best strategy is less than 30% of the way of the success. The problem is not to have the best strategy. The problem is to implement the strategy. And if we, in the Fortune magazine, there is a survey about the strategy and implementation of the strategy, and the result is that less than 10% of the strategy are really implemented in the company. And on this picture, you have a nice guy. Okay, he said, "Oh, I have a good strategy." Smile. But if you have a good strategy and no implementation, the results are not here. The idea rests, but no effect on the results of the company. The root cause are, I select some root cause, that the strategy is not explained, is not shared in the company. Only 5% of people in the company are informed on the strategy. The second is the strategy is not split in concrete, simple actions. The third is the strategy is not deployed or split in action in a good timing. And we don't say, so if we want to implement the strategy, it's necessary in 6 months to have made this action and this action. But if we don't do that, never we are able to implement the strategy because it's too late for the market. So, the other way is everything is important, no priorities. And any company works with many resources, with open bar resources. That don't exist. And it's necessary to have priorities to have the good resources on the main priorities of the strategy. And the third and the last is there is no measurement. We make actions, we follow that the actions completed, but there is no measurement of the effect of these actions of the market. So how can we say that it is a good strategy if there is no measurement of the effect of the action? Some tools to improve this is to use some tools like the strategic roadmap from Kaplan. This is a good tool, very helpful. Or to talk about balance scorecard. This is another tool, very helpful. And these tools can help you to formulate the strategy, to formulate the way of the strategy. These tools can help you to have a dashboard to follow your strategy, but they are not magic tools. And the problem of the implementation is until it's a whole problem. So, to facilitate an effectiveness deployment, I think it's possible to try to apply one principle. This principle is separate your main action to implement the strategy if two kinds of action. Action deployed through project, especially if these actions are one-shot. It's necessary to build something in a town, or you must go in that way or something like this. It's one-shot. One-shot, this is a project. And the other way is, for the other action, is to deploy through the process of the company. Not through the boxes of the organization, but through the process of the company. Especially if this action have impact on practices, new rules, behavior, knowledge in a cross-functional way and in a customer-oriented process. To do that, this is an example. This is the job for the board of the company is once a year after the strategy is built is to have something like this format to make the link between the action for the strategy and you see on this format that the two last columns on the right, they are split all the action between project or process with the qualification of the process. The other example is in this company there are the same process to split strategic actions in project and process, but you see they make cross between strategic action and process. And in that way, if you count the number of crosses, you can identify clearly what are your key process. And for the key process, what are the objectives you must deploy through the process. So why talk about process to deploy the strategy? It's because if you use the way of the process, the vehicle of the process, you're able to integrate changes, evolutions in a cross-functional way, and not only in a box of the organization, but in a cross-functional way. That's also the way to facilitate the many change and to create added value in a more quick way. It's also, if you use process, you can drive the progress, because if you use the concept of the management process, you have main indicators and you review the indicators and you have action plan, etc., etc. And you have two advantages. The advantage for the strategy is to be more efficient, and the advantage for your process is you'll be sure to have a very strong link between your business and your process in that way, and you'll be sure to have a very high vitality in your process. And in this example, this is a format for the process owner, and each process owner must have two inputs to design his progress action plan. One input is from the strategy, is from the action of the strategy. This is an input top-down, and the second input is an input from continuous improvement, from audits on the process, from customer survey or customer claim on the process, etc., etc. This is bottom-up input. But there is a prerequisite to do this. The prerequisite is to have a real, very well understood process approach-based system management. If you have only a process system management for certification and for the auditors or the third-party auditors, I'm afraid that it doesn't work. So, thank you.